G'day. Welcome back to the $100,000 to $1 million challenge. Please note that none of this is financial advice and is purely for entertainment purposes. In today's video, I'll begin by reliving how I paper-handed the BUSD wind down. Then, we'll take an overall look at the market. Following that, we'll look at some of my recent altcoin buys and sells in detail. Towards the end, I'll share my full list of all my trades since the last video. Then, to finish it up, we'll take a look at how the portfolio stands today. So, to begin with, in my FAQ section of my spreadsheet here, FAQ number 4 says, what do you mean when you say counterparty risk is the first priority? And what I've written here is it says that this means that every centralized exchange that I deposit into, every smart contract, every LP, every stablecoin that I'm in, each of these things has to meet a suitable risk-reward criteria before entering. If I can avoid CFI and anything that sounds too good to be true, then that's going to be some of the key factors in me managing my counterparty risk. Now, back in the last cycle, I'll walk down memory lane, if you will. My trading I was reasonably happy with. Nothing too out of the ordinary. I was pretty happy exiting most of my positions in January of 2022. And what didn't go well was the amount of UST that I held. I had a big LP position in Aperture Finance. I had a big LP position in this Quarry protocol. Basically, UST was paying 20% APY thereabouts, and I was in these pools that were paying probably 30%-ish, sometimes 35%-ish with UST as one of the pairs in the pool. And so you know what happened to UST, of course. What happened is once this happened, okay, this whole Luna thing blew up, I couldn't withdraw. Aperture withdrawals stopped working. I couldn't withdraw out of Quarry. Quarry withdrawals stopped working. And I was way over allocated to UST in my portfolio, even though my rules say that I must diversify and I must have discipline in my diversification. I made a huge mistake, and especially in being involved in these type of protocols where I couldn't withdraw my money. By the time I was able to get my money out of Aperture, that was over 10 days once this thing had blown up, and it was just absolute disaster. So with that in mind, I do have on my FAQs that counterparty risk is my first priority. And so when we look at what happened with BUSD, or in fact, my trading plan says that if I smell a tether blow up, USDC, BUSD, or a DAI blow up, I get out of the market. If there's a Binance blow up, I get out of the market. If the actual Bitcoin network gets hacked, or the actual ETH L1 gets hacked, I get out of the market. And so these are my code red signals where if something of this magnitude happens, I get out of the market. You could probably stick pandemic up there, but these are the things these are the known knowns where I'm like, I got to get out of the market. So when the SEC said that BUSD is a security for me, I was looking to get out of the market. And so that happened on the 13th of February. If we look at Bitcoin chart here, 13th of February. Okay, I put in this tail here on this red candle. I tweeted that I've swapped out of all the BUSD I had. It wasn't a lot, but I didn't want to have any on the books because it's on my code red list. Okay, once you have an unwind of a stablecoin of like 16 billion, generally you're going to have a run for the exits. I just wanted to get out. I sat on this chart for a little bit more. All the alts started selling off. At the bottom, I sold everything except for ETH and Litecoin. And I wrote here that it's just a massive deal. It's bad news. I didn't want to be involved in this, so I got out. What happened though is next day we got this big green candle, and I was really confused. I'm still pretty confused, but the market doesn't lie. And look, basically the market said, hey, there's not going to be any contagion on here. It's just going to be 1-for-1 redemptions, nothing to worry about, business as usual. So I tweeted that, okay, I'm generally amazed that the market has brushed off this BUSD news. This tells me there is serious strength in the market, and I'll be allocating in anticipation of a Q2 alt season. So what happened is I was out of the market. I was about 27% allocated because I got rid of everything except for Litecoin, except for ETH. And of course, Bitcoin goes and puts in a God candle, and I was left on the sidelines. Now, I didn't FOMO in, okay, for a few reasons. One, 25,000 is a big fat round number. That's going to be key resistance. If it went through, so be it. I'd have to buy on the other side of a retest. But mentally for me, 25k is a test. Let's see how it reacts to 25k. If it can really bust through it, okay. But probably not. Also, if I look at the weekly chart for Bitcoin, okay, you've got this 200-day weekly slow moving average. This is huge resistance. This back here in June is the first time that it's ever been, the first time that we've really had multi-weeks close below it. So then in my mind, I've always thought that, okay, this has generally always been support. This is the first time we're closing underneath it. It's going to act as resistance when we come back to it. So here we are acting as resistance as we come back to it. So with those kind of thoughts in mind, I followed my plan. I didn't FOMO in, even though it put in this God candle, and I've just been waiting basically. I had 0 chasers up here, so that I'm proud of. Now, where are we? The other thing, I guess, was that this DXY, it's just had a huge bounce off of this support. That also said to me that the fact that DXY is having a big move up kind of dampens the ability for Bitcoin to have a big move up as well. In terms of where we're at right now, something else I was looking at was Litecoin. I'm always looking at Litecoin as my market leader. And I did post in the Discord that if I see Litecoin close on the daily chart above $100 2 days in a row, I will start market buying things. It really threatened around here, got a lot of closes over 100, but we never got 2 days in a row over 100. And you can see right now, Litecoin is consolidating just under $100. Okay, so that also helped me. And if I look at ETH, the main thing that's really helping me is this Shanghai upgrade, of course. Okay, because still my central case is that market's going to dump into Shanghai upgrade when we know the date. The best that we know for now is, let's look over here. The best we know for now is that on the 28th of February, on the test network, the upgrade's going to happen, and probably the middle of March. If you know anything about software development, it always tends to get pushed back. That's why they've kind of said March broadly. I have read some of the developer reports where they're saying that it could be early April. But if I look at the market right now, with the way we've had this big run up, going back to ETH merge. Okay, ETH merge, you can see about 30 days before actual ETH merge, we have the sell-off. Afterwards, we have about a wicker down, and then that's about it. Granted, we did have a move down here, but generally that's about it. So I'm looking for similar here. Whenever this date is finally announced, I'm just kind of going with middle of March, which does mean that this is about a month prior, and this is kind of what I'm expecting. My central case is a bit of a sell-off here into ETH merge, into Shanghai upgrade. Once stakers can sell, I'll probably give them a few days, maybe up to a week. But after that, I am planning to be 100% allocated into this market. Now, in terms of this whole BUSD and what happened, if I did, in fact, hold my positions here and not sell out, okay, at the top, I would have had another $8,000 in profits. Okay, so, that's clearly not ideal. However, I have no complaints, as the most important thing for me is that I follow my plan. So while I did lose $8,000 in profits, if this did actually blow up and I lost, if there was a 50% dip in the market, then that's something that would seriously affect my ability to reach my goal of $1 million. Okay, it would make it much, much more difficult, as opposed to what happened where I missed out on potentially 5 to 10% of profits. So, overall I am happy with how I acted. And I will follow a similar plan if something like this is to happen again, if one of my code red flags happens to pop up in the future. Now, in terms of what I have been doing is I have been buying the dip. I'll share some of my entries for those buys in this video in just a moment. And as I've been saying, my central case now is a dip into Shanghai upgrade and then resuming a strong uptrend afterwards into the middle of the year. Key support for Bitcoin, obviously this is very key here, about 17,000, but 20,000, big round number, that's going to act as decent support, I would assume, and that's my central case. Okay, let's look at some of the things that I have bought now. Arweave, it's I've had on top of my list as something I really want to allocate into, but it's just been straight up, and me, I don't buy straight up. So finally, we've got a sell-off here on this 50% retrace. I have picked some up at $10.10. I also have another order working here at $8.60, where I'll be happy to pick some more up. It just doesn't make sense to me to have something just run up. There has to be at some point a retrace, and so that's why I've just been patiently waiting. Similarly, with Near Protocol, another one of the top coins that I've been looking to allocate into, it just went straight up, so I've had to wait for the retrace. This one I did get I just feel that this one is really undervalued, so I did put in some orders here at 260, 250 after we kind of had this big move here. I think or maybe this move here, and I did just say, look, I just want to get in, so I had some 236 retraces at 250, around about there, and I've been filled. I do have an order down here at $1.68, but I'm glad to finally have some Near Protocol on the books. Something like Metis, it's another one which I would like to get a big allocation into. I did initially buy at $21.04, but I did sell after this BUSD news. It then, of course, took off. I bought some on this 236 retrace just in case it was going to break through this key resistance here, and just a little bit. And I've got another order here at $30 if we come back and retest some key support. A0, another one which I've at 87 cents. I took a pretty large position. I sold on that BUSD sell-off. It's gone and almost come up to $2 here. This has gone through key resistance, so it's a super strong looking chart. I did get a little bit keen and bought some at $1.76, but just a little bit. I just wanted to have some on the books. And my next order is going to be here at $1.33, which is a decent retrace if we can come back down there. I think there's a decent chance that we do come back down here, and so I'll take a big position here at $1.33. If I look at something like Joe, I'll just take a look at Joe on CoinMarketCap. I was talking about Joe in my last video. It's pretty active DEX. They're rolling out on BNB, they're rolling out on Arbitrum. They're looking to always just roll out, so they're constantly building. And something like this, if you look at this chart, it's had a big run prior, and now this is what I call buying in a position of strength. Okay, sure, you can lose the lows, but this is a pretty decent base. We're not playing around with these really high prices up here. And so this is kind of where I want to come in. So if I look at Joe, I did have a couple of buys, and my average buy position is 26.25 cents. We're just under that at the moment. If we do come down further, I will pick up a bit more of that. Some things that I don't own, but I've been waiting on. Mina. Okay, this has got a lot of the ETH L2. It's got a lot of narratives, this coin. Smallest blockchain in the world, all this kind of stuff. I'm just monitoring right now. It has come back to 382. I'm just going to wait. I mean, it's had a big run. I would like some. I did have orders all down here, but it just kept going. I'm just going to have to wait and see what the market does here. But if there's an opportunity for me to get some of this on the books, I will. Another L2, Immutable X. Again, I had orders working, but this thing just refused to retrace. Finally, we're getting a retrace now. I'll keep monitoring and seeing what price does, and I'll be trying to get into that. And Render, which I've talked about quite a lot and I've said that I think it really is kind of a market leader in terms of just an established coin with its own narrative, not like AI or not like some kind of China narrative, but just its own coin with its own great fundamentals. Actually, like a really good project. So I did sell on the BUSD news, and if I look at it now, it's a little bit in no man's land. I do have a very optimistic order here, working at 80 cents, and that's a big order. So if we do come down there, I will be picking it up. But I could well step in at $1.30 here, depending on how the market acts and how things play out. But certainly it's something that I'm monitoring closely and looking to get into. Now let's take a look at my full list of trades. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so this is since I sold everything other than Litecoin and ETH on February 13th. Since then I've sold nothing, and since then I've been busy reaccumulating. All of these, other than A0, all of these I had orders working and they all got filled. There is a link to a Google Sheet in the description below where I enter all of my trades as they happen. So if you're interested, you can take a look at that. Or if you like notifications for any trade that I make, feel free to come and join the Discord. I post all my trades in there as soon as they happen. Alright, let's take a look at the portfolio over here. So we're at 121,510. As I always say, it's going to go up, it's going to go down. But I'm hoping that by the middle of the year, it's a good number. That's my goal. And at this point in time, I've got about 34.6 in Tether. Some are just over 65% allocated. I have the projects that I want. My central case is that we are going to dip here, and I'm going to have the ability to hold through this dip, and I will, bar any code red happening. I'll be holding on, and I'll be looking to accumulate so that by the time ETH merge is over, ETH Shanghai upgrade is over, I'm going to be 100% in, and that's my plan. And I just got to keep working to try to stick to my plan. So with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you're able to find some value, please help by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I'm aiming to be back in another fortnight's time, so until then, let's always be looking for an edge. Take care until next time, and thanks for watching the $100,000 to $1 million challenge.